On November 2023, I completed my first feature documentary film called Bahala. If you haven't heard of it, here's a video where I first talked about it. Nothing could really prepare me for this project like actually doing it, and I realized I never got to share the lessons that I learned with you. I have my notebook here. Let's just get right into it. Biggest lesson I learned: organization is key. Having a clear way to label all my files. My director knew exactly where he was going to see previews for each cue and give me feedback. Also, having a delivery folder just ready to go, so I could easily just export the mix and then the stems for each of the cues in one folder. To give you an idea of how the process kind of started and how important organization was, the very first thing that I did, other than having a conversation with Andrew, my director, I came up with little snippets of music representing what I thought could be the core sound palette for the film. Now, I think this was really important because it gave me a chance to, gauge what really vibed with the director. And from there, I could determine a limited number of sounds and musical material that I could use throughout the score. So instead of approaching each scene as an individual piece of music, I came up with one little idea that I would then reiterate throughout the whole score. And that really helped me keep my creative energy focused and organized every time I sat down to compose. The second thing that I did was have a spotting session with the director. Now, this was super important because it allowed me to make sure that I was always on the same page and have a systematic way to track the music I was responsible for, what I was supposed to write, and where it was supposed to start and end. In total, I had to write about 18 minutes and 47 seconds of music. And if that sounds scarily specific to you, it's because of the notes that I took. Everything that I talked about with the director in the spotting session was then transported into QDB, which is a software where composers and their teams can track the music, what's going to be written, how much of it, who's responsible for what. The timeline for this film, I had to do all this music in 3 months or less, preferably less. So I had to be very efficient and work my butt off. Second thing I learned, I'm so glad I had an additional composer. I was halfway through the project when I pulled the trigger and left my day job. And that transition was surprisingly smooth, but I think I couldn't have done it without the help of my wonderful additional music composer, Daniel Nieberg. So Daniel, if you're watching, thank you, man. I never got to say, well, I did say thank you, but thank you again. When I was in the spotting session with Andrew, I was keeping track of what cues I thought Daniel would be better at than me. There were 2 ambient cues that were supposed to be kind of like uplifting and hopeful, and I'd rather focus on the more melancholic and like happy stuff. Choosing Daniel was a really crucial decision. I think I really felt like I made the right choice. I did not have to micromanage him, not that I would want to. He's an amazing dude and I respect him so much. And that mutual respect and trust really allowed me to be hands off and trust that he was going to make the best decision possible. There was one case where he had, taken a creative risk and wrote something with a really unique sound, and the director didn't like it. But instead of, trying to relay that information to Daniel and get him to fix it, I was able to step back and look at the problem from a outside perspective. I had him instead focus on an ambient cue that was at a key scene in the film, and I realized that the scene that required a revision actually could use the main theme, but in a stripped down version. So without having to compose any additional music or do an actual revision, I took stems from the main theme that I had composed earlier and just conformed it to fit the scene. So not only did I save time and energy, I kept Daniel motivated and kept the momentum going. Hiring an additional composer allowed me to problem solve more efficiently because I had more brain energy left for that. So really grateful. And I would 10 out of 10 hire an additional composer again. And the last lesson that I learned was how valuable working on a feature-length project is as an artist. Before this, I didn't really have the time or resources to spend this long on a project, but when I was working on Bahalana, I really feel like I got to reap the benefits of collaboration. The pressure really pushed me as an artist to be creative. I think the artist in us, composers and filmmakers alike, we will always wish that we had more time, more money, more resources to put into a project. But I found that having to do this feature in 3 months or less with a limited music budget really pushed me to grow as a composer and think outside the box. I really feel like the whole team grew so much from this project, and we made something that we're really, really proud of. I just want to let you know that if you are thinking of working on a feature film yourself, whether you're a filmmaker or a composer, you will learn so much from the experience, and I encourage you to enjoy it while it lasts, even though it can be stressful, very time-consuming, and may fill you with feelings of self-doubt. But at the end of the day, putting your heart and soul into something and then putting it out there in the world is one of the most fulfilling feelings. I'm so glad that I got to do that project and share that experience here with you guys. This was the most delayed video ever. By the way, if you are a composer who wants to learn how to get paid projects like the one that I had, I mentor composers and help them do just that. Right now, I have 7 spots left in my mentorship program. It's customized to each composer, and my goal is really to help you connect with filmmakers and build that confidence in showing up online, meeting people, being proactive, and most of all, just having fun and making friends in the industry. It's really as simple as that. I know it's easier said than done, but I hope that by sharing my journey that you can take something and apply it to yours. Yeah, so, oh God, okay, bye.